Cormani McClain is one of those players that is in the transfer portal. And he went on his YouTube channel and has some things to say about his time at Colorado, tangentially, I suppose, and was asked a question about what he's looking for in his next school. Here's what.
Change the narrative of everyone's thinking on my name, be a part of a real and a great program that's going to impact me at my best ability. And yeah, ready to get to a new place and get to work. Yeah, I feel like I just don't want to play for the Clicks. I actually want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players.
So interesting. He said, I don't want to play for Clicks, as he just said in that clip, saying he wants to go somewhere that's going to develop him. And I think this, obviously, because it's Cormani McClain, who's a high-profile player, because it's Colorado, who's a very visible brand in college football, with Deion Sanders running the show, like, this made a lot of people feel a lot of different ways. And you have, I think, two really extreme arguments on either side of this thing. The first is, well, hey, Cormani, we're hearing about you not going to meetings, not watching enough tape. We're hearing about you not doing the right things. So it's kind of on you, man. Like, you reap what you sow is probably what one side of this equation was saying. The other side were probably saying, yeah, of course Cormani wants to transfer. He's got Deion Sanders over there talking about Shedeur and Shiloh and Travis, and that's pretty much all that we hear from him. Colorado went 4-8 last year. Of course Cormani wants to go somewhere where he can get developed a little bit more effectively. I think the right answer, as it usually is probably somewhere in the middle of the extremes. We've been very open on this show. Do I agree with everything that Deion Sanders does? No. At the exact same time, was Cormani McClain the sterling example of what a true freshman in college football should be doing to be successful? Also, probably not. I think the right answer is actually exactly what Deion Sanders said on a previous interview with the media. He was asked about Cormani McClain, and he basically was like, listen, it's unfortunate, but we are not the right program for him right now to allow him to be successful. I wish him the best. I think that was genuine. And to give you my thoughts on this, like Deion Sanders saying they're not the right program for him right now, I think it's fair, because if you look at what Colorado is right now, it's like, hey, man, we're trying to get to a bowl game. We're trying to win a conference championship. We're trying to get this ship turned around from a one-win operation when I got here to winning football games. We don't have time for someone who's not going to be on board here. Like the video you hear before you take off on an airplane, they always say, secure your own oxygen mask in the case of an emergency before you do to someone next to you. That's what Colorado is right now, man. They're trying to put their own oxygen mask on right now. They don't have extra bandwidth to try and bring Cormani McClain along with them, no matter how talented he is. So I wish the best for Cormani McClain, especially if that's your guy for Deion Sanders, but you don't have the time to bring somebody along who's dragging their feet. And here's the thing with Colorado overall, which is just, quite frankly, I think a little bit frustrating. There is very little room for nuance when you talk about Colorado when it comes to the way people perceive Deion Sanders and the way people perceive Colorado. Like, it's either all of it or it's none of it when it comes to the negative and the positive. Like, maybe it's just somewhere in the middle, like I just said with the Cormani McClain situation. People are saying, they suck. They won 4 games last year. They're never going to do anything there. It's like, well, they won 1 game the year before we got there. Maybe they're building. On the other side, you say, hey, if you don't think we're in a national championship, you don't believe. Why are you being a hater on Deion? Nobody's hating on Deion. Maybe it's just a matter of, hey, they won 4 games last year. I don't think they're going to the national championship this year. Maybe a bowl game would be a great place to start. Deion's going to attract everybody and anybody, man. Just wait. He's the best recruiter in the country. Okay, I think he could be, but he's got to do home visits, right? Like, that would be a helpful part of this equation to consider too. So I wish there was a little bit more nuance allowed when you talk about Deion Sanders, when you talk about this whole situation with Cormani McClain. I don't think it's a situation where, Deion Sanders in Colorado are just a totally down-and-out operation. They just don't have the bandwidth to drag along Cormani McClain, who, by nature of what we heard from last season, wasn't necessarily doing everything he needed to do to push himself and Colorado in the right direction. And I think if you're going to pick a side here, I don't think you should pick sides, period, but if you had to lean towards a side here, like, look at who is in the Cormani McClain sweepstakes right now. Not a lot of those high-profile schools that were after him at the high school level. So I'm just saying, I think Cormani McClain and the things you heard about him from Deion Sanders, I think those are probably about right based on the way his recruitment is trending right now. But we'll keep an eye on this and we'll see how it goes. We wish the best for Cormani McClain. We wish the best for Colorado and Deion Sanders. Like, it's a tough deal, man. There's usually some nuance that has to be involved when you talk about anything in life, and we wish there was a little bit more of it allowed publicly with Deion Sanders in Colorado. But nonetheless, the party rolls on. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.